everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Common Sense Show. It's episode 12. So please remember to like, subscribe, and listen and share our podcast.
On YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter if we're there.
And Spotify
or
too.
X.
Oh yeah,
It's called
it
X.
is now X, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, so we're kicking off today with Oreo and coconut. So I think there's been quite a lot of there's a lot of discussion, I know, particularly on X, regarding this lady that was at the Palestinian protest who had a sign up. And I think it was in basically talking about the Prime Minister and the Home,
former Home Secretary.
Suella
Braverman. Beautiful name though.
Yes, and Rishi Sunak, and basically alluding to the fact that they're coconuts.
Yeah,
and
I think there are pictures of there hanging out.
Yeah,
with the coconuts
with the
on
coconut.
the tree.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think they would taste well if they crack their head open though. So. But hey.
So I think she's been charged with I think with a hate crime or something.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
Rightly so.
And I mean, when I saw it, I was just like, oh, we have far more important things. So I literally just scrolled past. But I don't know if I didn't take it as, I was like, are we actually being serious? Are we wasting time and resources on this? That's how I felt in that moment.
A lot of people felt that way. It's good to feel that way because a lot of people don't know or don't understand that those terms are really, really offensive to people from ethnic backgrounds, especially black and brown people, as they call them.
Yeah.
Look, we all have shades of color these days. So I'm black. Maybe some people call me brown, but hey, it's very, very offensive. And it is not shocking. It is alarming that a lot of people didn't understand what the terms were. Even black people who were born in this country really didn't know whether it was offensive because to them it was a different sort of
because I've always understood it to be an insult.
Okay.
Right,
in what sense?
Like growing up, like when somebody say, "Oh, you're an Oreo" or "You're a coconut," it was really to say that yes, like you're black or you're brown or you're an ethnic minority, but you act like a white person. So it was kind of pushing that idea of there being like a universal identity for
that's why it's more offensive.
Black minority ethnic background.
That's why it's more offensive.
Because in actual fact, if you look at it, I always challenge this. Actually, I was like, there is no universal black identity. And
if I may ask, sorry, I'll cut you short because I'm trying to understand why at the time you just thought it was just ordinary insult. Were you called, or did you hear this was from black and brown people's mouths?
Yeah.
That's why you would have thought that way. Because I'm asking people, what if it came out from a white person's mouth? Would we have said it's the same thing with it's the same thing with us saying, "What's up, my hand brother? What's up, dog? What's up, bitches?" Yeah. It's offensive,
when it comes from somebody that you're familiar with or that you know, I think you kind of like turn a blind eye to it because thinking about it, your friends can call you bitches and hoes, and you'll be like, yes,
use the N-word.
Exactly.
But I think it is wrong still. But again, like I said, it's very alarming that a lot of people didn't know it was offensive, and to see that people who were very prominent in society who they call race baiters and people who were very outspoken, like Dr. Shola. And Kehinde Andrews is a professor who's written books on racial matters in this country. I was surprised to hear them coming out forefront supporting our lady, saying the police should have time for something else, not this. This is not what it is. They should focus on something. I was really shocked they did that because for me it was as if it was cherry picking. Now, this is why I say this. There's a lady in the northern part of England, I don't remember, I think she's a Labour councillor. She had used that same word against another councillor of ethnic background, and she was sanctioned and she was penalized, she was taken to court, she was fined and all of that. They would have heard of that. I didn't see Dr. Shola at the time or Professor Kehinde Andrews coming out to say, oh, that's not racist law.
But I think probably the reason why is, I think the woman that had the sign up during that protest, what ethnicity was she?
She looks like Sunak or she's from ethnic background.
Herself. I feel like maybe that might be why.
No, but the same thing was with the councillor. The councillor was a black woman, and she did that against another. Okay. Let's break it down.
Okay, so is it because perhaps I'm trying to understand? Are we only, I guess, from people that I think are very quite vocal about race, and they're always at the forefront when we're discussing race and racism. Perhaps I'm just trying to understand what they were thinking at the time. Is it because, right, I think the only reason why perhaps it was deemed acceptable is because of one, the reasons why they were protesting, because it was in relation to Palestine, and a lot of people felt that Suella and Rishi Sunak had taken a stance which, from their perspective, was contrary to what they would expect of people from an ethnic
So they were being
background.
biased in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So, but again, it doesn't matter whether Suella Braverman at the time had one job to do: secure the streets of London as the Home Secretary.
Yeah.
So she was working within the law. If you have problems with that, you could go challenge that in the court.
Yeah.
So whatever she said as a person, direct it to her. It doesn't give me the right now to run on the street with a noose.
Yeah.
Because I'm protesting. You know what I mean?
No.
So, for example, David Lammy, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, I want to say, or the Labour MP, the veteran Labour MP, said he had his own opinions too. He didn't support the ceasefire. So what if I had come out on that protest and I had a noose around his neck on a placard? Would that have been all right for me to do that because it was coming from a black person? It's the same thing we're saying. So we're tolerating that. And I want to take you to a very famous one that happened. That's why I said those people who have mentioned the name earlier, they were being economical with the truth. They were being very dishonest. Because if that was to have been a white person, Dr. Shola with a loud mouth would have slaughtered those people. Yeah, fair enough. Good. The loudmouth has gotten out of places anyway. So what I'm saying is, Anton Ferdinand, I think that was his name, or that's his name, Rio Ferdinand's brother, they both played for England. If one of them was in Tottenham, I want to say, I don't know if he played for Tottenham or West Ham, but Rio was with Manchester at the time. John Terry was the captain of Chelsea. I think Chelsea had a game with Anton Ferdinand's team. They said a racist law was used from John Terry. John Terry is a proper white dude. Yeah? Anton is mixed race, so he's got a parent who's white and who's black, I guess. And Rio Ferdinand's younger brother. Now, Rio took offense because he wasn't having that. And Rio and John Terry are very close friends. They play for national team together. But Rio took offense and it went out of proportion because, according to eyewitnesses, if I'm not mistaken, it happened a while ago, Ashley Cole, who himself identifies as black, but his mother is white, I think. You know, the former something Cole's wife, husband. Cheryl Cole.
Yeah, Cheryl Cole's husband.
Or to use her real name, Cheryl Tweedy.
Let's. Oh, wow.
You will set records with Tweedy. Anyway, okay, get it. So Cole said something, but not in defense of Anton. Cole said what he said in support of John Terry's claim that I wasn't racially abusive towards Anton. Cole is the teammate of John Terry at Chelsea, also teammates of Anton and Rio and Terry at the national level. But Rio Ferdinand took offense and said, typical coconut and Oreo. Boy, the whole country went, no way we're having that. He called Cole a coconut, meaning you're acting white. Yeah. Now, there was an outrage, and rightly so. Ferdinand was punished for that. Why was that different? Why is this different? Are we saying, it's an Asian to an Asian, we should accept it?
No. I agree with you.
Our brother Boateng became the chancellor.
Oh yeah, and
a Labour MP who was an Asian woman. If I didn't know who he was facially, I would think he was a white man talking. Why would you say that?
And do you know what it is? I think it comes down to
is it his fault that it sounds like an English person? He was born here.
I think it's
racism.
Do you know what it is? I think it comes down to the fact that people have in their minds
certain stereotype.
They have stereotypes.
We should be jumping from trees still.
Of who, like, if you're a black person, this is how you're supposed to sound.
This is how you should behave. You should have been reading books.
And
you should have no business to do with calculus.
Exactly. So once you step out of that,
you should
and
be
you challenge that stereotype.
You should be a nurse and be a cleaner, sweeping the streets of London, maybe drive bus. But we fought so hard for black people to even drive buses. Why are we pushed in a box?
So once you challenge that stereotype, right? I think that's when people are like, if I didn't meet you, you're so well spoken.
Exactly.
And all these little nuances of things. And when I think back about it, I know I've had these comments, and at the time I'd be like, what the heck?
Do you know how many times my manager said, oh God, you speak very well. So what did you think? That we don't speak well from where we come from? We don't have head to think. Now they're thinking, so using that word in itself is saying, is holding white as the extreme. Is holding white as a symbol of intelligence.
Of course.
So now, Nana, you're talking the way you're talking. Ooh. So now I'm telling you, you shouldn't speak that way. You're not intelligent. You're sounding like them now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Boateng, it turned out that he was one of the most intelligent of dudes that's ever walked this country.
Yeah,
but we slaughtered even our own community.
Yeah, very
slaughtered that dude.
Yeah.
I remember I was one of the people fighting for him, and my dudes were still cussing me. I was like, you guys are pathetic.
But here's the thing, right? This is what
that's why I didn't tolerate. That's why I was so angry with that woman.
Okay,
and I want her to be charged.
No,
throw her in the jail. I carries jail term.
I understand that now. I think for me, I think it's probably because of like my experiences of like hearing these comments. I think I've kind of become desensitized to it. So when I read it, I was like, oh, come on. Like I just scrolled past it and rolled my eyes. But I know for a fact that there's been instances where I've been like, no, there is no universal.
Let me ask you a question, quick one.
Identity.
Say you posted something on Instagram one day and somebody called you the N-word and it was from a black person. How would you react? Honestly. Would you scroll past it because it's coming from somebody, black person, right?
The thing is that I'm conflicted with.
So it was a white person who said the N-word against you. Go, bitch! The N-word. Go to your country. How would you react? You will flew off the handle. You will screenshot. You will report to X. You report to Elon Musk and they will come back and say, "We've checked it. It's not racist. It meets our guidance. Next time, block the person because you got a block button." Now, I want to read something out before we go further.
Yeah,
it's from Stylist Magazine. So, calling someone a coconut or an Oreo is unbelievably offensive, but it still happens all the time. I'll quickly read this. Might be boring. The terms like coconut and Oreo, meaning brown on the outside, white on the inside, are still thrown around to describe black and brown people who don't conform to reductive cultural stereotypes. Here we unpack why they're so harmful. According to a 2020 YouGov poll, 89% of Brits think altering a racial slur to someone's face is racist. Still, 64% of people from a black, Asian minority ethnic background say they've had a racial slur directed at them, while 65% have heard someone telling a joke about their race. YMCA's Young and Black report also found that 95% of black people aged between 16 and 30 have heard and witnessed racist language at school. This figure was 75% for those in workplaces. While 77% of Britons who took part in the aforementioned YouGov poll said making assumptions about someone's behavior based on their race is a form of racial discrimination. 77% of Britons who took part in the aforementioned poll, a majority of them were black and ethnic minority, said making assumptions about someone's behavior based on their race is a form of racial discrimination. People of color in the UK are still constantly reduced to outdated racial stereotypes. Terms such as coconut and Oreo are glaring example of this. A coconut or an Oreo is someone who is black or brown on the outside and white on the inside. Other food-based insults with the same meaning include bounty, chalk eyes, banana, which is used for Asian people.
Yeah.
So these terms are labeled at people of color who don't act, speak, or dress in a way that's considered authentic to their race.
Yeah.
They might seem harmless, unlike the N-word or P-word, which one is the P-word now? Pussy word?
No, P-word.
Oh, for my brothers from the Southeast Asia, which are well established as racial slur. So it is demeaning, and they propagate an idea that there's only one correct way to be a person of color.
I agree.
Dumb.
No.
We ain't dumb.
No. Here's the thing, right? I absolutely agree with that article. And looking back and thinking back to it, right? I know for a fact that I had been in so many situations where the idea of you not conforming to what is stereotype has been a black person. Once you don't conform to that idea, I have seen it, and I've experienced it firsthand. The reactions and the things that people say, and then sometimes I sit back and I'm thinking in my head, there is no universal black identity. It comes in like different shapes and different forms.
Exactly.
In the same way that there is no universal white identity.
I'm glad you just said that because on Twitter, or what they call X, I keep calling it Twitter.
It's fine.
So now on that place where they call X, the dudes we just classify. So they'll put pictures of ladies from our continent, like African culture. And I said, look, let's educate ourselves. Africa ain't a country.
It's a continent.
It's a continent made up of more than 56 countries. This ain't our culture. This might be a culture from Lesotho. It ain't the culture in Edo. It ain't the culture in Abia. It ain't the culture in the Ashanti Kingdom.
It's definitely,
we have more than 1 million tribes in Africa.
That's
Black Africa, to say the least. Why are you just putting us in an homogeneous pack? We ain't homogeneous. We've never been.
We've never been.
Because I'm from Nigeria, I don't mean I speak like Ghanaians.
Even like from the perspective of even when you think about the countries, like even let's take Ghana for instance. Like there are so many differences when you go to different tribes in terms of the way that they do things. Even though we're all from the same country. there's a difference.
So imagine putting everyone in one basket.
Exactly.
And
so
and
the
Africans
Ghans, the Ewes, the Ashantis.
Tell me about it.
Even within the Akan, which is like a huge tribe, there's
shades within shades.
There's different ways of doing
and
things.
the irony of everything is Africans claim that British, the biggest colonial masters of all time, did put all of us who were different people into one box. Yet we're doing the same, putting all of us in one box. I challenge this everywhere. Even at workplaces, they say, the patient is an African. I'm like, the country place where they come from.
Yeah.
Africa is not a country.
It's
like me saying European. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
You got to then delineate it to a place, a special place.
Oh, yeah,
so
I
that
agree.
woman holding that placard, whether she's Palestinian, Asian or not, saying that against Rishi Sunak, who's an Indian descent, and Swela. I don't know where Swela really comes from, but
I don't know either.
Yeah,
actually.
so I haven't really researched that. No matter beef you have with these people, I don't like Rishi, I don't like Swela that much, but you shouldn't use those terms because you look like them. It is racial slur. It is saying to them, you guys should be acting like us. You guys should be jumping from trees. You guys should be protecting our interests. And you're acting like whites that you see. Maybe you've sat too much around white, now you're white. Yeah. I don't like it when my friends even come to my yard and say, he's married to a white, that's why he talks the way he talks. No, man. That's the way I've always behaved. I've always read books. Yeah. So don't come say, I behave like white, that's why I read. That's not why I read. I understand if people call you coconut head, it's different. It means you're blocking the head. But that's different from saying you're a coconut. Yeah. Coconut is racial slur. There's no how you want to paint it. Put a lip on a pig, lipstick on a pig is still a pig. Yeah. There's no way you want to address it, whether it comes from a black mouth, brown mouth, white mouth. It is a racial slur and we must not tolerate it in our community.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
Simple
I agree with you. But I also think it's quite interesting that we've had this conversation because I think it's a conversation that needed to be had.
Yeah. Because thank God for that woman.
Yeah.
I always say people like that
honestly, right?
She's asked us questions.
Back to her, and when I think about the reactions that I saw on social media platforms, a lot of it was really just coming from trying to trivialize it, make it seem like, oh yes,
it's harmless.
Yeah, because even me, when I saw it, I just scrolled past. But it was mainly because I had been in those situations.
Exactly.
And I think I'd become desensitized, where from my perspective, I always used to jump back and be like, there is no universal black identity.
Yeah, there's not.
I remember getting into an argument with one of my colleagues at one of my old jobs where I was like, they were trying to talk about using black African Americans as the standard for how black people should behave. And I remember telling them that you do know that there's a whole continent full of black people. How then do you think that a country with a country where yes, you have people of African descent who live there, these people's identity and what they go through is supposed to be what every single black person across the whole globe experiences. And I remember telling them, I was like, I was born in Ghana, right? And I'm like, even me as a Ghanaian woman, right? I understand that my experiences and the things that I go through are very, very different. Because once again, if I actually look at it and consider it, like my experiences as an educated Ghanaian woman is very different from perhaps somebody that's living in the village who hasn't had the exposure that I've had, who hasn't had the opportunities that I've had because of the family that I've come from. So I'm never going to sit here and be like, oh yes, no, we're all Ghanaians, we all experience the same things, because the struggles that some Ghanaians go through, I have never experienced.
Yeah.
And the things that for them might be at the top of their list, or like I might deem, like when I'm in Ghana and I'm complaining about certain things and they're like, sis, like for them, it's not that important.
There are light-hearted jokes like that. They might go back there and say, it's so hot. They might say, oh, that's first world problem.
Yeah. Of course.
Those are harmless things.
Those are harmless things. But sometimes I sit back and I always used to challenge that idea that why do you have a one-dimensional view of a whole race of people?
Imagine at home where there are children, black children, and everything is about imagery and everything is about what you see, what you watch, what you hear. Starts from auditory. You hear, you imagine it, and you see. Where you have black kids, and there's always talks about, let me just make it more interesting. You have one of the parents are white, and the white person's family comes around to the table, and the kids are acting certain way, and the white people are saying, you're coconut. Over time, they're telling that kid, don't act the way you act. You need to act this way. This is the way you guys act as black people. You need to be hands in your pocket, trousers sagging by the junction, maybe carrying a bag across.
And it's always negative. It's always negative stereotypes.
We have been intelligent people before anything. We've been scholars. We've been kings and queens. I'm not saying every one of us are kings and queens and carry crowns of gold on our head. No. But we are people. Don't dehumanize us. Don't use any other race as our standard. The Chinese are different. The Indians are different. White people are different. We're different.
Yeah.
I can stand anybody and have a debate with them, whether you're from any race.
Yeah.
I hold my own high. But the moment you start telling me I'm a coconut because I speak that way, especially when it comes from my own people, if it comes from the white, I don't care. But if it comes from our own people, the ignorance, man, for you to keep saying that is saying, Jude, shut up. Do not speak. Do not speak. Do not speak. My mom, God bless her soul, she's dead now. When she found out I got first class, when she first said I was chasing first class, she was saying, no, my son, don't do it. You know, these white people, they don't like. I'm like, huh? Who gave you that idea? It's all this coconut business. Yeah. When I got my first class, I told her, she was still saying, can you not shine too much? Keep it down. I had friends who said, come on, man, they do too much. No. I'm being me. Thank goodness, I have a favorable, good environment that's fertile for me to try out things. That doesn't make me coconut. No. If I have learned how to pronounce my TH, it doesn't make me coconut or Oreos.
I agree.
I'm just trying to better myself.
Yeah,
if you want to remain in your own cocoon, that's good for you. I ain't stereotyping you, but if I start speaking certain way, for Christ's sake, don't call me coconut for that.
But even that it's like.
There's no standard of behavior for us.
Exactly, there is no standard of behavior. And also, I always say, why is it always when you think about somebody calling you Oreo coconut? A lot of the times it's because you're exhibiting. Actually, if you look at the behavior that you're exhibiting, they're very positive behavior.
They're positive behavior, but with damage.
Intelligent. You're reading.
It's all because you're intelligent and reading.
It's like
talk a certain way.
Why are you so accepting, right, as somebody of an ethnic minority, to accept, in my opinion, right, negative portrayals of your own people as that being what we should be. Yeah.
It's like you don't conform to what they want you to conform to. You're not playing the victim game. Yeah. You're a coconut. No, man. I'm tired of playing the victim game because I can rise above that. Not forgetting that. Not disregarding any of that. But I can rise above those pettiness. And fight and hold my own.
I agree.
Anywhere. Imagine my own calling me coconut. What do you want the outsiders to then call me?
That's a very valid point.
It's very painful.
Yeah.
Oh, if I didn't know who Lamy was, if I didn't know who Boateng was, I would think it was a white person speaking.
Yeah.
No, man. It's Boateng and he speaks very well and he's an intelligent dude.
And he's an intelligent dude. And intelligence,
said that.
And intelligence isn't limited to just one race.
P.S. Morgan, who screams a lot on TV, is not as half intelligent as my shoes. He shouts. That's all he does. That's why it pains me so much that I haven't had time to sit with him and come with facts. Yeah, Nigel Farage, who screams all the time, he's not intelligent. He's just a white man who is opportune and he shouts and he got access to TV.
Yeah.
So when your black brother is doing the same, like those boys on TV, Femi and the others, don't call them coconut.
Yeah.
They're acting right in the environment where they are.
Yeah, and that's just
Rishi's an intelligent dude.
And that's just their personality.
Rishi's an intelligent dude. Whether you like it or not, the mom and the dad brought him up well. The mom and the dad were proper. They're not poor people. They're not like, okay, we brought this boy up in a certain way. He's not deviating from the way they behave. He's still true to his culture and everything. But you call him coconut because what? He's a prime minister? He shouldn't get to that stage.
And I think what it comes down to as well is also accepting that people will have different views, different opinions.
Of course, yes.
And just different experiences from life will shape how somebody will be. So you can't expect that just because, okay, we're all black, we need to all think this way.
No.
And once
we must not have one view.
And once you deviate from that, oh yeah, you're coconut.
And they hold positions in society where the person has to be parked somewhere.
Yeah.
And do what is expedient or expected of the government. Your home secretary, there are duties you have.
Yeah.
Where your personal opinion, if your personal opinion creeps into that, they will hold their mechanisms to hold you responsible for that.
Yeah.
There are ways to challenge all of that. But coming to the street and saying that, like I said, Lamy said things I don't like. I met Lamy one time and I challenged him. I asked him a question.
Yeah.
Why are you supporting Keir Starmer? Is it because he got nice hairstyle and looks good for picture? And he said, oh, go off with that. I don't like Lamy as a person. I don't care. Yeah. But it doesn't give me the right to say because of his opinions, I prefer Dan Abbott to him. Yeah. It doesn't give me the right to say, call him an N-word or a coconut because I don't like his opinions. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no,
the brother is doing well. The brother has achieved by his own ability. He didn't achieve because he was pretending to be white. No.
In full support.
The brother has done well and we should praise those people. That's why I also respect our sister Kemi Badenoch.
Oh, Badenoch. Yeah.
And I got slammed for that. Labour sanctioned me for that. That's why I left the Labour Party. Yeah. I'm saying this on the first time on air. I left Labour Party because of that. So Kemi was saying things about how she rose from wherever she was when she was trying to become the leader of Conservative Party when Boris was leaving, not the second time round. And I said, this is good. We need this for our young sisters, our black sisters and black people everywhere. You know, our people were calling her coconut already. She's coconut. She's coconut because she has certain views. You get close to the corridors of power and you see all this your yap behind Twitter will stop. You know, now Kemi was saying that that's only one line of support. I don't know who picked it up and they reported me to the hierarchy of Labour. And Labour said, we're investigating, you don't talk about this. I said, look at these ones. I went straight on Twitter and I said what I want to say. I said, before you kick me, I'll kick you out. They did the investigation after a couple of months and they came back, wrote me proper notes and said, we didn't find anything. You can continue to be a member. I said, middle finger, I left you. I cannot conform to you.
Yeah.
Kemi represented something for me.
Yeah, and
I want that. It represented something for my daughter and my children. Are you saying you want to muzzle me so I don't speak? And people are saying she's coconut. She ain't coconut. She's done well for herself.
She just had a different political view.
She's told my daughter and my sons that you can also get there. But you muzzling me, you saying she's a coconut, is telling my children you can never be Kemi. You're good for McDonald's. You end up in McDonald's, you see. That's what they're trying to tell them. You end up in McDonald's, you see. So it is a racial law, and it should be treated like that. We shouldn't take it lightly whether it comes from people who look like us. No, it is.
But I think it's quite good that we've had this conversation.
And just to look, there's a Sonda Katwala, director of think tank British Future, points out that the term coconut falls under racial harassment in law. I have found people are surprised to hear it's been prosecuted in law. Whether it's a racist law or not shouldn't still be a matter of debate. This is exactly what I said. It was alarming to hear people say it wasn't. This is somebody you can go research, Sonda Katwala, director of the think tank British Future. It is a racist law and it falls under the racial harassment in law. Anytime I hear that from anybody again, my friends, be warned. I'm taking you under the law, man. You ain't calling me coconut or Oreo anymore. I like coconuts and I like Oreos, but please don't call me that.
Don't refer to me as such.
Don't refer to me as such at all. It's not. It is racist. It is racist. We don't have to wait for the N word.
Yeah.
And it's our duty to educate our people.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And obviously, I've had to check my response to this. Having this conversation.
That's what living is. You reflect on things.
Yeah. Because I remember I just scrolled past and actually looking back and like thinking back at all in those times when I've had people say, "Oh, you're so well spoken. Oh well, you're a coconut." I remember how I felt, and now I'm actually like thinking, actually no, this is not acceptable. And I remember standing so strong, and I always fight back at asserting that there is no universal identity.
There's no. What are we doing? What are we doing good for? Working as nurses and porters.
So it's actually I've actually quite enjoyed this this interaction.
I hope we've done it a bit of justice for our people to understand. Because our voices need to be heard as well, not just people who have access to mainstream media. We live in homes with our children who are blacks.
Of course,
and this is damaging to them. So
I agree.
I'll stop there. Thank you for joining us.
Don't forget to subscribe, share, and also listen to our podcast.